Rich, I see you watching there. So it's your best friend in Skillz, Mike Evans here, and I am here with my buddy Ron Graziano. You've been seeing his name around for a little while now. He's dropping some awesome knowledge in the group, and you're going to be seeing a little more of his name. So I want to take an opportunity to let you guys get to know Ron. So Ron, welcome, and thank you so much for your time today. Could you just tell us a little bit about Ron? Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah. So Mike, thanks so much. Listen, we go way back. So, when I first started with Skillz, I remember one of the first things that I got to was when I got to my first testing cycle. I was like, look, I really don't understand. There's an 8-week cycle. There's a 10-week cycle. How do I belt them up? If I belt them up, how soon are they going to, they're going to belt up maybe before they age up. And so that was the first time that we really spoke. And you gave me some great advice then, right? But by telling me a little bit more about how I need to understand the design of the program, which was that next level for me because I'd already been using the program. And so look, we opened a school here in a small suburb of Chicago, about 40 miles west of O'Hare Airport in July of 2017. And to be honest with you, I never thought I was going to be teaching 3 to 6-year-old kids. I thought I was going to start my martial arts business. We were going to teach kids over 7. There was going to be plenty of kids, plenty of families. We're a family-based martial arts school. When I look at our patch, you can kind of see the family in our logo. That was our branding when we first started about the academy. And I quickly learned between July and October, I quickly learned that there was a lot of 3 to 6-year-old leads and prospects that were coming in that I just wasn't able to service. So that's a little bit about how I thought, okay, wow, I need to find something to fill this. And I started with Skillz.
Awesome. We had a similar experience when we joined with Skillz. Is just people kept calling like, do you teach 3-year-olds? And we kept saying no. And one day we had like 18 calls and I had to eventually say yes. And then the kids all came in and tied me up. And I was like, all right, I need to do something a little better. So that's when we ended up with Skillz. So you guys, the Kyuki-Do, you guys actually have your own organization and everything as well, right?
Yeah, so I'm a licensed affiliate of the American Kyuki-Do Federation. The American Kyuki-Do Federation was established in 1979. Grandmaster Kim, still alive, still part of the federation, came to the United States in the mid 60s and developed Kyuki-Do martial arts. Came here to be a judo instructor for the Olympic judo team, and quickly started developing this martial art. The federation was established in 79, and right now there's about 34 Kyuki-Do schools, American Kyuki-Do Federation's licensed affiliates, just like me, throughout the United States. And yes, we had a program. We have a certified black belt program all the way through, 8th-degree black belt.
So, and I ask this because I do know a lot of people are in organizations. I as a Kung Fu guy, I'm an independent, but I know a lot of people do sometimes struggle with the decision of how do I balance something like Skillz with either my vision for my business. I came into it wanting to be a hardcore fight trainer, and look at me now. With things like your organization, and I'm sure you guys have rules and standards in that organization. So how have you found the balance between the two? I mean, I see it in your results, obviously.
Yeah, so for me, I'm real lucky because our affiliate agreement allows me to do other things outside of just the Kyuki-Do program. So our Kyuki-Do program is well ingrained in our core black belt program. But here's the key, right? The key is not just that I had the ability to bring other things in, right? We do ninja tricks here for our summer camp. We're working on bringing 2020 armor in for the technology piece. So I have the leverage to do that. But the key, I believe, in our success is the way Skillz allowed me to co-brand and customize the program to mirror or match up in a progression that made sense. So while it's a standalone program, right, that was all done for me, lesson plans, everything, do this, do this, do this, we quickly were able to integrate it into our culture, and we get the leverage of using things like the 10 instructional design, right? The stages of development, all those things, pies, right? And we were able to use physical, intellectual, emotional, social development to also support our primary black belt program.
That's fantastic. So I know just by your nature, and I've known you for a little while now, I wouldn't exactly say, we hang out every week. Although I'd love for you to come to New York and get some of this good pizza that we have over here.
Don't let John hear that. He'll hear that I'm eating pizza, and I'll get some kind of
He'll be right on you. So how do you find, you mentioned culture. Did you already have this sort of culture, or was this something that maybe you had to explore or shift or moderate? Was there any friction there as you went in with Skillz?
So as a brand new school, we didn't have a culture. We were building our culture, right? I mean, we literally opened the door with white belts. A matter of fact, in November, we'll be graduating our first black belt candidates, 7 candidates graduating to first degree black belt who started in our academy as white belt, right? We know the matriculation rate. We know how many people we have to get to the door to make a black belt. Sure. So when we were building the culture, it was also great timing to bring our 3s and 4s, 5s and 6s into an age specific program while they also experienced our culture. So our parents also developed right into our culture. And look, Skillz was right there. One of the things that Skillz helped me with was I didn't have a life skills program. But when I joined Skillz, life skills was part of my Gold membership at the time, which I'm a Gold lifetime member now. And I should have did it a lot sooner, by the way. So anybody that's watching, do not wait. Do not pay those monthly payments, right? It's like leasing a car, man. Do not lease the car, right? Buy the car, because at the end, you're still going to have a payment, and you made payments. So that's my finance bit, right? Hey. But so what happened was, Mike, you're right on point that we were able to take Skillz along in that journey in developing our culture, and it immediately leveled it up and exponentially increased my trajectory to get to what my culture was going to look like.
Cool. Now, speaking of trajectory, you mentioned that you're a fairly new school. You've had a meteoric trajectory as far as business success, in addition to the educational programs that you have on your floor. So do you have a background that assisted with that? Do you have a business background? Now, I did see the pictures of you back in the Army, and you could tell it was the Army because you had an awful lot of hair compared to the Marine Corps.
Yeah, so I served 11 and a half years active duty, honorably served our country, deployed, did great things. And that's where I've had my really first chance to do instruction. I was a law enforcement instructor for 2 years for the United States Coast Guard. And that's where I got my first introduction to instructional design, organizational development, how to build lesson plans, understanding, terminal objectives and those kind of things, right? Task, condition, standard, right? Military talk right there, right? But listen, I also spent some time in corporate America. So I've had the position of corporate officer. I've been a vice president. I've done remote management, and those things all helped me accelerate the business side of the school, which created that very steep trajectory. And we're still growing, right? We blew out of our original school. We originally moved into 2,400 square feet. We outgrew that in 18 months. At the time when I opened my school, I was still working as the chief operating officer for a private security company, full-time, 6-figure executive level job while we were running the school. And November of 18, I quit. So we opened in July of 17. November of 18, I quit my job. Thanksgiving, I came home and just said, I can't do this anymore. Can't do both. Sat down, talked with my wife. And in May of 19, we moved into 4,800 square feet. We went from 0 students in July of 17 to 100 active students by March of 2018.
So that's an interesting metric, because at 100 students, most people are still looking at a 12 to 1,500 square foot space. So it's not even just the quality of instruction or the number of students. There's obviously a value that you're bringing, and then that's being balanced, in your student value. As you look, I'm sure you're not the school in town that's charging $30 a month for your classes. So from a business sense, there's a lot going on there as well. And I love that you're able to now bring that to the Skillz community. So
I also owned my own business for 11 years before I started this business. I sold that business in 2011. And my first shot at business entrepreneurship, we took our company from $30,000 in revenue in year 1 to 1.4 million in year 4. I'll tell you what that taught me in business, right? It taught me the value of scaling and having a vision, right? It's easy to create a vision in our martial arts business and say, I want to have 150 students, right? And Mike, I know we have this conversation. I know that you're going to tell me, look, it's not the student count, it's the student value. How are you adding value? What are your earnings? But the important part was what I learned from my first business experience was being able to have a vision. So when we blew up the school to 4,800 square feet, I knew that there were certain things that I wanted to add value. I had too many parents sitting in the parking lot. That's one of the things, right? So we made sure that we committed. I got to give props to John. John Salama helped me out when I was going back and forth. I was like, man, I don't know. I know he just moved into a big school. There was literally it was a Sunday night at like 10 o'clock. I sent him a picture of my floor plan and he's like, hey, jump on the phone right now. Can you get on the phone? And I got to tell you, the floor plan we have right here in the school was a result of some key elements that John helped me at in redesigning and reconfiguring the school. So, props to the Skillz family. You guys have been right here alongside me the whole time.
Yeah, his engineering mindset comes in handy for a lot of that stuff. It's one of those niches that he fills on the team. So I know you're just kind of coming on board and you don't necessarily have an official position, but you do bring a lot of value, especially with the posts that you've been making over the past few weeks. I've been watching them and there's a ton in there. So if someone were to want to reach out to you, what type of expertise or which niche of the team do you feel that you would fill? What's the value that you bring to the team?
So I think right now the key piece of success is what I mentioned. We brought, I started the program from scratch, just me doing it, right, as a one-person operator with a part-time instructor. Got that instructor trained up so that he could run the program. Ran it for a while. Expanded our program. At one point, our Skillz active count was 55% of our active count were Skillz kids. So think about that, right? For my revenue generator, right? And then training another instructor as we moved and expanded and readjusted our schedule. And what I think I help people with the most is understanding that you can have your standalone program. Your 7 and over program is fine. If people are struggling with how to implement the early and basic skills and then how to also integrate that, how does that roll up to matriculating students, aging students up out of our 5 and 6 year old program. We have a really great success rate of 3s and 4s up to 5 and 6s. We have an even better success rate of 5 and 6s moving up into our basic program. And within 90 days, they are leveling up to our leadership program. Okay, so I got 6-year-old kids that roll up. So onboarding, how can we take Skillz members who maybe get into the subscription and just are kind of like, how do I implement all this, right? How do I actually do it? What is the framework? How do I use my language and use the skill language and integrate it so there's a good segue and a good dovetail between those both relationships? And I think that's probably what I would say that's where I think I can help skill schools the most right now, or new skill owners, right? They have that gap. They have those 3 and 4s, those 5 and 6s. How do I break them up? How do I understand the stage of development? How do I start speaking the language? And how do I accelerate the return on the investment of the Skillz membership?
And I think that's a great area. It is fairly common within the Skillz community for people to only run early and basic skills because so many organizations start, like you said, at 7 years old. And then there's this whole group of people that are not ready for that yet. So it's actually fairly common for people to be early and basic skills members and then do what you do above that. So I think that'll be very valuable and useful for people to understand and develop.
Yeah, the business plan, understanding how to market a different demographic in your community, understanding those people live in different places. They're at a different place in their life. So it's just a change. The key, I'll tell you, I met Andrew when I was at an event in New Orleans. It's the first time I met Melody in person. And, when I first started teaching Skillz, I tried to teach it like my basic martial arts program. Big mistake, right? Within the first couple of classes, I was seeing these kids that were like, what's going on? I would watch the Skillz videos. I'm like, how do we get that? How do I get kids to be like that? Right. And even though I'd watch Melody and so I think that's it, right? understanding that when you're teaching that 3 and 4 and 5 and 6-year-old age group, that understanding where they are in their stage of development, understanding that you have to be a different presenter. And it's funny because we get our parents who have kids in both age groups who go, that Mr. Graziano is really different from this Mr. Graziano, but I'm happy. Yeah. I'm glad, right? So that's, those are some of the things I think, those lessons learned. And I think when people struggle with rolling out their 3 and 4, 5 and 6-year-old program, I think we have to peel that 7 and over persona off and we got to put on that superhero jacket, right?
Yeah, just like there's a developmental shift in kids, most instructors are either really good at early and basic or at core and extreme and elite. I'm the older group. You give me some core skills kids, I will be in there having fun. You give me early skills kids, and I'm just looking for my partner to come take over because she just rocks with them. So I think when you look at those skills videos and you wonder, like, how do I get my kids to be like that? I think the more powerful question is, how do I get me and my instructors to be like that so the kids want to? And it's a big mindset shift.
And the core principles are the same, right? Always leaving them wanting more, always making sure that when they come back, when they leave, they want to look forward for the next class, right? The basic principles, the basic business principles don't change, right? We all know that our students, no matter which program they're in, they're 1 foot staying, 1 foot quitting, right? Every single day. So being able to connect with the parents, show them the value, and really connect. That's why I thought the connection and anchoring piece was one of the things that I had talked to several people in the group who said, man, how are you doing that? How are you getting those numbers? How are you building it? I just can't seem to make it work. Those were some of the things, right? The connecting and anchoring piece, which was the first 4 tips, and really talking about how to convert the value. Right. The conversion rate for me is not the sign up rate. The conversion rate for me is when you convert the value.
Yeah, and that's interesting. It's a lot of personal development that goes into it, and also business development follows that, because your business practices stop being, how many leads am I getting? How many signups did I get? How much money am I making? And they start becoming like, how do I serve people better? And when you serve people better, more people come to be served. So it's an interesting shift there. So you do bring a lot of knowledge and background, and you have a great understanding of the program. And from what I understand, we do have a flash sale that's releasing for August 1st. So there's a post somewhere here in the group. You guys will see more of it, I'm sure. So you'll be able to get a lifetime access to both early skills and basic skills, 2 of the most return on investment programs we have in the Skillz Nation. And with that, so I understand, Ron, the first few people actually get some coaching calls with you, right? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's one of the things we talked about. How can we help people, and what may be some of the friction, right? What may be some of the challenges that people have when they first get Skillz, because it's a lot, right? 2 programs, 2 age groups, 2 onboarding systems, new ways to do the evaluations, understanding the evaluations. How do I score the evaluations? So listen, I really want other people to see the benefit, right? Boom, right? Boom, all at once. So we talked about being able to help them through that implementation stage. I heard somebody talking this morning about, being able to learn it, but being able to implement it, right? And when you narrow the space down between learning and implementation, wow, right? Talk about an accelerated trajectory on the results. So that's what I want to do. I want to help people with that onboarding process. So the first 4 people that sign up for this current offer, this flash sale that's running on August 1st, which is amazing. I mean, it's a huge value. Will get me for 2 calls, and we can set up exactly, look, how are we going to do this? How did you do it? How should we do it? And how to generate your initial interest, how I generated a wait list before I even had my first class. Bring those kids in. How do we get the social proof going? And how we can get, how do we market the school so when the kids come in, they see it. And yeah, 2 calls absolutely included in the program. Melanie, what a great value that is right there. Introduced to the program and having somebody who's done this over a period of time recently with success to stand by your side and kind of point you to that specific goal.
And that recently word, I think, is very key. One of the reasons that Melody has John and I and Kelly now is because she doesn't run a school anymore. So she has us because we're actively running a schools. Now, we've been running schools for 20 years. It becomes very useful to expand that perspective because you face some unique things compared to what we face. You know, we're steering the Titanic and trying to turn it slowly. You're able to pivot, I think, a little more quickly to have even faster success than we might in some instances. So that's really valuable. And guys, you get the whole Skillz team in addition, right? Having Ron in your corner and whispering personally in your ear, that's going to be huge.
Listen, anybody that's met us, you know, I mean, you know, you and John have really, you, John, Melody, Andrew, Clayton, I mean, you guys have all set the standard, right? And I appreciated how much you guys were there for us. So, you know, being able to be there for people and give somebody a little bit more individualized attention and guide them in a way that fits their business. Listen, you know, again, I always tell people the best part of this agreement with Skillz is that my hands are not tied. I never feel during any part of implementing the program in my academy that I have to pick between Skillz and my program. They're together. They're the same. They're exactly the same. You don't want to use the belts? Don't use them. You don't want to use this color? Don't use them. You want to, whatever, right? Let's figure out a way to help you integrate it into your program for your success.
Yeah, I mean, it's really about the educational experience. How you express it is up to your school. It's got to fit. All right, so I do want to be mindful of your time and everybody else's time. So I hope everybody feels a little more comfortable, that they know you a little better. And if you're hesitant about jumping into a lifetime membership, look, you don't have to wait until August 1st to reach out to Ron or me or John to find out a little more about it, to learn more about how it might fit. And then once you do make that decision, then you're going to have Ron in your corner and then the rest of the team working for you. We are committed to your success. So if you're interested in early skills for 3 and 4 year olds, basic skills for 5 and 6, then this is going to be a great, amazing, powerful opportunity for you. Watch for that post dropping August 1st. Although I know there was a hint dropped by Melody already.
Action takers get advantage, right? You're going to get me. I'm going to be right there for you. 2 calls guaranteed. Promise to be there with you. Promise to make sure that you get, and look, 2 calls, whatever it takes, right? Whatever those 2 calls look like, whatever it takes.
There's something to be said for early adoption. And we know that action takers are often also the glory takers. So we want to make sure that everybody gets what they need right off the bat. All right, Mr. Graziano, thank you so much for your time and attention in this. And I look forward to working with you even more closely in the near future.
Hey, listen, so excited. Whoever jumps in on this deal, we're going to have an amazing time at MegaCon, right? So what a great opportunity that's going to be. So here's your chance to get in. And I know you guys are going to talk to them about the benefit they get on that as well when they get in on our lifetime program.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, go make some decisions, and we will see you guys talking to, wait a minute, my camera's backwards, that guy pretty soon. Have a great day, everybody.